Making the headlines tonight. Prime Minister Hun Sen opens the 2022 World Peace Summit in Seoul, South Korea, with leaders, senior officials, and experts from more than 100 countries in attendance. Former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon states he would like to work with the ASEAN Special Envoy to Myanmar to support cooperation between the United Nations and ASEAN in resolving the crisis in Myanmar. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrives in Melbourne ahead of a Quad meeting with the foreign ministers of Japan, India, and Australia. Reigning world champion Max Verstappen looks forward to getting acquainted with his new look 2022 Red Bull Challenger. And the cuteness that is the Puppy Bowl is returning for its 18th year on Super Bowl Sunday. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Darshana Gauchan. Prime Minister Hun Sen opened the 2022 World Peace Summit in Seoul, South Korea with the participation of leaders, senior officials, and experts from more than 100 countries. During his opening remarks, the Prime Minister stated that war cannot be ended by more war. EAC News reporter Robin Lim has the story.
Speaking at the opening ceremony of the 2022 World Peace Summit on Friday morning, the Prime Minister stated that for almost half of his life, he has engaged in negotiations over war. He further shared his strong belief that war only causes suffering to the people and is not a viable solution. He mentioned the win-win policy he enacted in Cambodia as an example for the other countries to observe and follow. He said that Cambodia and the Mekong region can provide lessons on peace creation, peace building, and national reunification, and the win-win politics in Cambodia can be a source of inspiration and research for countries. He also called on North and South Korea to reach a peace treaty in order to turn the Korean Peninsula into a peaceful and united region. Prime Minister Hun Sen left Cambodia to co-chair the 2022 World Peace Summit on Thursday. In addition to being the co-chairman of the event, the Prime Minister was also selected as one of the winners of the 2022 Sun Hak Peace Prize, which will make him the first leader and individual in the ASEAN to receive the award. Robin Lim, EAC News.
Former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has told Prime Minister Hun Sen that he would like to work with the ASEAN Special Envoy to Myanmar, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn, to support cooperation between the United Nations and ASEAN in resolving the crisis in Myanmar. EAC News reporter Dekanin has the details.
While meeting Prime Minister Hun Sen in Seoul, South Korea, former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon expressed his support to the Prime Minister for his chairmanship of ASEAN in 2022 and his visit to Myanmar. He further asked the Prime Minister to be able to contact the ASEAN Special Envoy, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn, directly to help on the matter of the ongoing Myanmar crisis. The minister delegate attached to the Prime Minister, Taib Kim-hoon, told reporters after the meeting that because Ban Ki-moon was a former Secretary General of the United Nations, ASEAN and the United Nations can work together to promote this work to help Myanmar. Prime Minister Hun Sen, as the 2022 ASEAN chair, traveled to Myanmar on the 7th to the 8th of January for an official state visit. After meeting with Myanmar military leader Min Aung Hlaing, the Prime Minister appointed Cambodian Foreign Minister Prak Sokhonn as the special envoy of the ASEAN chair on Myanmar, who will work to implement the ASEAN 5-point consensus for Myanmar and help instill peace in the country. The next major event to take place under Cambodia's 2022 ASEAN chairmanship is the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting, will take place from the 15th to the 17th of February. Dekanin, EAC News.
The first Deputy Director of the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority, Senior Minister Lee Tuk, said that Cambodia plans to celebrate the 30th anniversary of demining efforts in 2022, after the kingdom achieved complete peace since 1998 and was able to deal with the threat of landmines and unexploded ordnances effectively and without fear. EAC News reporter Robin Lim has more.
The Deputy Director of the CMAA made this statement during a meeting held on Thursday with the Ambassador of Canada to Thailand, Cambodia and Laos, Sarah Taylor, on partnership and cooperation in the field of mine action in Cambodia and the Mine Authority headquarters. During the meeting, Senior Minister Lee Toik briefed the Canadian Ambassador on the Royal Government's efforts to address landmines and explosive remnants of war in Cambodia as a result of the country's protracted war since the early 1960s, and the start of humanitarian demining in Cambodia since 1992. Ambassador Sarah Taylor congratulated Cambodia on 30 years of demining work and said she joins the country in celebrating this milestone. The ambassador also affirmed that Canada will continue to work with the royal government of Cambodia in its demining work to achieve the goal of clearing all mines in the country by 2025, and will support the review of mine action data management, area research and mitigation of land affected by mines, and also provide technical assistance on resource mobilization for the mine action sector in Cambodia. Robin Lim, EAC News.
The Canadian ambassador to Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia, Sarah Taylor, has stated that Canada can provide training for building environmentally friendly technology in response to a request from the Minister of Public Works to receive support to allow the next generation of Cambodians to build their own sustainable infrastructures. EAC News reporter Dekanin has more details.
The Minister of Public Works and Transport, Senior Minister Sun Chantol, said in a meeting with Ambassador Sarah Taylor that Cambodia has established the Dakjo San Institute of Public Works and Transport to train the next generation of Cambodians to be able to build physical infrastructure without external help. But there is currently a need for support in developing the curricula surrounding the engineering of roads and bridges, with a particular need for qualified professors. In response, Ambassador Taylor said that Canada also offers scholarship to all ASEAN countries on various scales for capacity building, sending professors for hands-on training, sharing the Canadian experience and best practices related to the principles of state partnership and private infrastructure construction. The Canadian ambassador said that Canada has the technical expertise to build environmentally friendly infrastructure and can thus advise Cambodia on this matter. She added that they are looking for local partners, especially universities, to collaborate with on curriculum development for Cambodian students. Senior Minister Sun Chantol also mentioned the project to develop Cambodia's public transport system, including the addition of an automated train, subway, and monorail development project to reduce traffic congestion in Phnom Penh, and asked Canada to help review the development strategy of these projects as well. Dekanin, EAC News.
Representatives of the Japan-Cambodia Association met with the Minister of Water Resources and Meteorology to present and seek solutions to the issue of Prek Tanout River flooding. The meeting took place both in person and over video conference on Thursday. EAC News reporter Robin Lim has more.
During the meeting, representative of the JCA, Koji Kanzak, presented a number of proposals for measures to manage incidents of flood and the accidents and damage caused by the flooding of Prek Tanout River as well as the Mekong. The Minister of Water Resources, Lim Kien Hor, expressed his belief in Japan's proposal settlement of the irrigation system, saying that Mr. Koji Kanzak had extensive experience in dam and road construction, having come to Cambodia in the 1960s as a technician for the construction of the Prek Tanout River Dam in Kampong Spu Province. The solution proposed from the representatives of the JCA include a water resource management plan to effectively prevent floods for the benefit of people's livelihood and socio-economic development both now and in the future. The meeting between the Minister of Water Resources and the representative of the JCA came after the president of the association in Cambodia, Takahashi Fumaiki, asked for the Prime Minister Hun Sen's permission to bring Japanese investors to Cambodia in order to contribute to finding a solution to the flooding problem of Prek Tanout River, which particularly affects people during the rainy seasons. Prek Tanout River originates from the Oro Mountains and flows through Kampong Spu Province, the border of Kandal Province, and Phnom Penh before reaching the Basak River. For the last two rainy seasons, the flooding of Prek Tanout River has affected the people living along the river, especially those living by the rice fields in Kan Dang Khao and Kan Kampol Phnom Penh. In 2021, the flooding of Prek Tanout River affected more than 3,000 families, equivalent to more than 11,000 people. Robin Lim, EAC News.
The groundbreaking ceremony for a $22 million drainage system and wastewater treatment plant at Saray Sapon City in Banteay Meanchey Province was held on Friday under the presidency of Lee Sari, the Deputy Governor of Banteay Meanchey Province. According to the Director of the Department of Public Works and Transport of Banteay Meanchey Province, Sok Chanta, The project area spans across 36,724 kilometers of land and will connect houses, commercial buildings, and 3,766 institutions, with 9,765 kilometers of pressure sewer network, 63,332 kilometers of sewer network, one main pumping station and 3 small pumping stations, and a wastewater treatment station with a processing capacity of 3,500 cubic meters per day. The director further confirmed that the contract for this project was signed on 19 April 2021 by the Royal Government of Cambodia with a Chinese company under the technical supervision of the National Advisor of the Asian Development Bank and the Ministry of Public Works and Transport, with a total budget of $22.4 million and a 3-year construction plan. The Canadian ambassador to Cambodia has met with the Cambodian Minister of Commerce and accepted his request to consider establishing a free trade agreement between Cambodia and Canada. EAC News reporter Dekanin has more.
During a meeting between the Minister of Commerce, Pan So Sat, and Canadian Ambassador Sarah Taylor on Thursday, Ambassador Taylor stated that the new Canadian administration has set its economic policies towards increasing trade in the Asia-Pacific region. Hence, the establishment of a Cambodia-Canada bilateral free trade agreement could be considered by the Canadian government based on a feasibility study. She pledged to discuss the proposal with the relevant institutions and urged Canadian officials to work more closely with Cambodia to bring and develop specific projects under the Canadian Trade and Investments Framework (CTIF), as well as to raise technical assistance proposals from the Canadian government's CTIF project. Minister Pan So Sat requested the Canadian side to continue providing assistance under the CTIF project, particularly technical assistance in relation to the development of SMEs, participation in exhibitions, and matching of trade and investment meetings between the two countries. Moreover, he added that he would like to request Canada to propose a special concessions to Cambodia, a country with a smaller economic gap than some other ASEAN countries. In 2021, the total worth of goods exported to Canada from Cambodia under the Free Customs and Free Quota program amounted to about $954.82 million. Dekanin, EAC News.
Cambodia has reported 274 new COVID-19 cases, including 8 which are imported. There have been 105 patient recoveries and once again no new deaths. Cases surged for the 7th day straight as Cambodia yet again records the highest ever Omicron total. The kingdom recorded 266 new community and 8 new imported cases of the new variant, meaning Cambodia has now recorded 2,301 cases of Omicron, 613 imported, and 1,688 community cases. Cambodia's COVID-19 case tally has now climbed to 122,742. The death toll stands at 3,015. The number of patients treated successfully since the pandemic reached Cambodia is 118,525, and the tally for imported cases has climbed to 20,470. Healthcare workers are currently treating a total of 1,278 patients. And now for a look at news making international headlines this Friday, 11th February.
An intoxicated truck driver has rammed his vehicle into parked cars after ignoring a red light in southern Germany, shoving cars up against buildings and causing some of them to catch fire, police has said. 3 people were slightly injured and 31 vehicles damaged in the incident in Fürth just outside Nuremberg on Tuesday evening. The truck driver first skipped a red light touching a car that was at a crossroad in the process and carried on without stopping, according to a police statement. Shortly afterward, the truck rammed several parked cars and pushed them forward, some of them into the walls of buildings. The collision caused several cars, the facade of an apartment apartment building in the truck itself to catch fire. The building was evacuated. Mobile phone video footage of the crash site shows the night sky lit up by flames, with crushed cars filled up and lining the 500-meter street on both sides. It looks like a battlefield like after a war. When you think that one inebriated person can do this, it's crazy, said a local resident at the crash site. The driver, a 50-year-old Turkish citizen with no permanent residence in Germany, was arrested at the scene. Police has confirmed a brief alcohol test has showed that he was several times above the limit for driving, they added. The truck driver, the driver of the car, he touched at the red light, and a passerby were slightly injured.
Thousands of Palestinians have marched in a funeral held for 3 Palestinians killed in their car on Tuesday by Israeli forces. Residents have gathered around the car shattered with the bullets and filled with blood after Israeli security forces killed the 3 men in Nablus city in the occupied West Bank, Israeli Domestic Security Service has reported. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry has condemned the killing as a field execution. The armed wing of the Palestinian Fatah group has claimed the 3 men as members. A Palestinian source had earlier said the men belonged to the Islamic Jihad group, but a source in the group later has denied it. The Shin Bet Security Service has described the men as a terrorist squad that had carried out shooting attacks against Israeli soldiers and civilians in the area over the past few weeks. There were no casualties reported in those attacks.
Ukraine on Wednesday has received another consignment of weapons from the United States as part of defensive aid totaling $200 million. Moscow denies any plans to invade, but is seeking sweeping concessions from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the military alliance which has underpinned security in Western Europe since 1949. British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss will fly to Moscow on Wednesday to meet her Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov and discuss the situation in Ukraine. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived in Melbourne on Wednesday, February 9th, ahead of the Quad meeting with the foreign ministers of Japan, India, and Australia. This Friday, February 11th, in Melbourne, it's hosting the counterparts from India, Japan, and the United States for the 4th Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. This is the 3rd in-person meeting of Quad Foreign Ministers following Tokyo in October 2020 and the inaugural meeting in New York City in September 2019. Ministers last met virtually in February 2021.
The Quad countries, United States, India, Japan, and the host country, Australia, are expected to discuss how to further common goals, such as climate policy and providing COVID-19 vaccines to Southeast Asia ahead of an expected May summit in Japan that U.S. President Joe Biden plans to attend. Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Minister for Women, Senator Marise Payne, has said she is looking forward to welcoming Indian Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar, Japanese Minister for Foreign Affairs, Hayashi Yoshimasa, and United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken to discuss positive and ambitious agenda in support of a secure and prosperous Indo-Pacific. Blinken's trip comes days after China and Russia have declared a no-limits strategic partnership, their most detailed and assertive statement to work together, and against the United States to build a new international order based on their own interpretations of human rights and democracy. All aspects of the visit will be conducted in strict adherence to the Victorian government COVID-19 health guidelines and protocols. Following the Quad meeting, Blinken will travel to Fiji, the first by a Secretary of State in 4 decades, as China steps up its aid and influence in the Pacific region.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has said on Wednesday that the country will do everything to find a compromise that would suit everyone after holding talks with French President Emmanuel Macron in the Kremlin. Putin has also said that first Moscow summit he has held with a Western leader since the Kremlin began massing troops near its neighbor had been substantial, but also repeated warnings about the threat of war were Ukraine to join NATO.
In a joint news conference after talks with his French counterpart, President Emmanuel Macron, Vladimir Putin has said there would be no winners should European countries be drawn into a military conflict with Russia in the event Ukraine joins NATO and tries to retake Crimea. If Ukraine joins NATO and tries to get Crimea back by military means, European countries will automatically be drawn into military conflict with Russia. Putin has stated, speaking with heavy emphasis, there will be no winners. He has urged Ukraine to comply with the Minsk agreements, which include an aim to end the separatist war by Russian speakers in the Donbas region. The Russian president has also said Washington and Brussels had raised some issues that could be discussed, although for Russia, they were secondary. Macron, who has pushed his diplomatic credentials as he eyes possible re-election in 2 months' time, held more than 5 hours of talks over dinner when he met the Russian president.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
តើលោកអ្នកចិត្តរៀបអាពាហ៍ពិពាហ៍មែនទេហើយពិបាករកក្រុមហ៊ុនថតវីដេអូផ្សាយផ្ទាល់ដែលមានគុណភាពមែនទេអស់កង្វល់រ៉ាទីកាជាក្រុមហ៊ុនទទួលស្គាល់លំដាប់អន្តរជាតិលើសេវាកម្មថតផ្សាយផ្ទាល់គ្រប់កម្មវិធីកម្រិត 4K ដំបូងបង្អស់នៅកម្ពុជារ៉ាទីកាប្រើប្រាស់ឧបករណ៍ទំនើបម៉ាកល្បីៗធានាគុណភាពការផលិតតាមបច្ចេកវិទ្យាទាន់សម័យរ៉ាទីកានឹងជួយធ្វើឲ្យកម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកកាន់តែមានភាពអស្ចារ្យលោកអ្នកនឹងបានឃើញរាល់សកម្មភាពក្នុងពិធីទៅលើកញ្ចក់ទូរទស្សន៍ទំហំធំកម្រិត 4K និងការបញ្ចាំងលើផ្ទាំងក្រណាត់សព្រមទាំង LED ដែលមានរូបភាពច្បាស់ត្រជាក់ភ្នែកសូមអញ្ជើញកក់ពីឥឡូវនេះតាមរយៈលេខទូរស័ព្ទ012 823 848 017 839 និង016 823 848 រ៉ាទីកា ទំនុកចិត្តការទទួលខុសត្រូវនិងគុណភាពខ្ពស់
something, you about to see something. It's coming, we're unstoppable now. Ain't nothing gonna take us down, we're unstoppable now. Fade to black, take a bow, yeah. We're unstoppable now.
Reigning world champion Max Verstappen is looking forward to getting acquainted with his new look 2022 Red Bull Challenger that the Dutchman hopes will help him defend his Formula One crown.
A lot is unknown about the car, said the 24-year-old is standing alongside teammate Sergio Perez at the launch of his new RB18, unveiled virtually on Wednesday, February 9. That's why I'm also very curious to see how the car is behaving on track, Verstappen has added. Formula One cars this year will feature cleaner swept-back aerodynamics aimed at improving wheel-to-wheel racing in bigger 18-inch wheels as part of a radical regulatory overhaul. Verstappen, who has driven the car on Red Bull Simulator, has said it has less grip than the previous generation of Formula One challengers. But he has also said the view from the cockpit was the biggest change to get used to. For me, actually, the biggest thing is just the view in the cockpit with these big tires, Verstappen excitedly said. To hit an apex in some tight corners is a bit more difficult. Red Bull's new car will sport a slightly tweaked livery this year. The changes include a prominent display of Oracle branding on the car, with the software giant expanding its partnership with the team to become its title sponsor. The car will no longer carry Honda stickers, with the Japanese manufacturer having officially pulled out of the sport. Instead, it now features a smaller HRC or Honda Racing Company branding to reflect Red Bull's scaled-down collaboration with the Japanese company. It also sports the number 1, with Verstappen becoming the first reigning champion to swap out his personal number for the world champion's digit since Sebastian Vettel in 2014. Team principal Christian Horner has described the rule changes as the biggest in 30 years. Repeating last year's title success for Verstappen, who fought a down-to-the-wire battle with Mercedes rival Lewis Hamilton before clinching the title in controversial circumstances at the Abu Dhabi final, would be the biggest challenge, he has added. Motivation is sky high, and he says he is riding on the crest of a wave from last year. Teams will get their first taste of pre-season running at Barcelona from February 23 to 25. The season gets underway in Bahrain on March 20.
And now for a look at how the weather will be playing out tomorrow. And finally, the cuteness that is the Puppy Bowl is returning for its 18th year on Super Bowl Sunday, February 13th. Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart will return to host the 18th annual Puppy Bowl on Sunday. The event will feature over 100 puppies from 67 shelters across 33 states. The puppies will be competing on either Team Rough or Team Fluff for the Lombardi Trophy. The 3-hour event encourages viewers to adopt the adorable participants. The Puppy Bowl is an annual television program on Animal Planet that mimics an American football game similar to the Super Bowl using puppies. Shown each year on Super Bowl Sunday, the show consists of footage of a batch of puppies at play inside a model stadium with commentary on their actions. The first Puppy Bowl was shown on February 6, 2004. The puppies featured in the Puppy Bowl are from shelters. The entire program is designed to raise awareness about adopting pets from shelters and rescuing abandoned animals. A veterinarian is on site during the production of the Puppy Bowl to ensure animal safety and well-being, and to administer any veterinary medical care which might be needed. Representatives from American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, as well as the shelters which lend their animals to the production, are also on site as observers to ensure animal welfare standards are maintained. In 2012, an American Humane Association representative was always on site to ensure that puppies did not become too aggressive and injure one another. According to its associate producer, about 53 hours of videoing are needed to produce a single Puppy Bowl.
We have a record year this year. 103 puppies participating. That is the most amount ever. 9 pairs of siblings. That is the most ever. We're from 23 different states, 51 shelters. We have 34 cats participating. Early reports are showing you gotta look out for chorizo and you gotta look out for birch. They're tiny, but they pack a huge punch.
Each year, a Most Valuable Puppy, or MVP, is chosen at the end of the show for the puppy considered to be the standout performer of the event. Beginning with Puppy Bowl 11, viewers were allowed to vote for the MVP. MVP voting was permitted for the program's airing. While producers aim to entertain, the main goal is to raise awareness about pet adoption. At the end of each break, puppies currently available for adoption will be shown during the program. The 3-hour special will be streamed on Discovery Plus and on air on the U.S. network Animal Planet. Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, you can check out our website, eacnews.asia, or search EAC News on Telegram or at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We will see you then.